Hello everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, let's continue with the review. Okay, so during globalization, okay, there will be some countries who will be benefited and some country may even suffer. Okay, so let's see who is winning. Actually, like there are mainly two types of country: developed country and developing country. Developed countries are the one that profit because they will be roaming around all the world and whole world, right? So they will have production facilities and they will be selling to whole all over the globe. So that's why they will be benefited with high amount of profit and revenue. Then they also there will be higher income, output, and employment in those countries because as they're expanding, those countries will be benefited as well. Then lower prices because they will be producing for the whole world, right? So they will be most likely be achieving economies of scale, and this will help them to lower their price. And then increase in quantity of labor. So labors will be there will be yeah, high number of yeah, labor in those countries because of globalization. Your laborers will be allowed to enter in the developed countries, okay, so that they can continue their production. Okay, so suppose think about your friends and relative maybe you've seen them moving to a different country. Okay, they're immigrating to those country. Why? Because they need skilled labor, so that's why they allow people to move to their country. Okay, then next is greater consumer choice. Okay, so because of globalization, there is a very high level of competition, and because of that, lots of consumer choice are there, and choices from around the globe will be available around the developing countries as well as the developed countries. Okay. Then less conflict. So because of globalization, wars and this kind of military conflict is reducing because nowadays it is so much integrated. So all the countries are related to each other. Like you don't want to get into a conflict with your supplier or your customer, right? So almost all the countries around us is becoming supplier or customer of a developed country or any almost any country. Okay, right? So that's why conflict is comparatively lower than before. And now, if you can think about from the perspective of the developing country, suppose Bangladesh. Okay, so for developing country like Bangladesh, what's happening that increase in income. Okay, as multinational companies are coming to your country, FDI is coming. That means foreign direct investment. This will increase the production, and they will need more labor, and so they will be get paid. They will get employment, so living standard of the people of the country will improve. Also, there will be a rise in tax revenue. Government will be earning a huge amount of tax revenue because as a host nation, they will charge tax to the multinationals. So their tax revenue will rise. So government can spend this in extra amount to improve the government services or infrastructure. Then increase in exports. Exports will be rising because because of globalization, we are not producing or not only for our country, we are producing for the whole world. Okay, so exports are rising. Okay, you'll find many um, foreign firms are coming into your country and producing so that they can export those goods to their country. Okay, mostly ready-made garments. Okay, Bangladesh is doing quite good with ready-made garments export, right? So those ready-made garments are actually produced for the foreign countries. Okay, so our benefit is that we are increasing the export. Okay, so export is a very good thing. It will help you to earn foreign currencies. Then there is increase in employment. Okay, so more production will lead to more employees. All right. Then transfer technology when these multinational companies and other firms are coming to your country. So what's happening that you need to you'll also get access to the most modern developed advanced technology. Okay, next we have improvement in the quality of human capital. Mm, so these labors are getting the labors you are using in the production method, so they will be receiving advanced training. Okay, they'll increase their skill, so this will help them to improve the quality of the human capital, right? Then enterprise development. So there will be development because of globalization. The multinationals are coming to you, so and to support those multinationals, your local businessmen need to provide lots of services and goods to the multinationals, which is leading to enterprise development. Okay, now for the disadvantage part. Okay, so because of this, actually, both developing and developed country is suffering in terms of natural and natural disaster or like a pollution. Okay, so as we are producing so, in large quantity, what's happening that it's damaging the environment, and also and this is causing a lot of global warming and other natural calamities are fueled by this kind of activities. Many says that. Then next is exploitation of less developed countries. What's happening that because of globalization, mostly benefit are earned by the developed countries, and often it is seen that these developed countries are taking advantage of the situation and exploiting the developing countries. Suppose think about the multinationals. So in their home country, multinationals are paying high wages, but when they're coming to developed country, what's happening that they are providing a low amount of wages. Then what's happening that the host nation who are hosting the multinationals, what happens that the resources are extracted by the multinationals and used for their use. And very few is used by the host nation. Suppose think about gas. Like we have lots of gas as our natural resources. So if you observe the situation of the natural gas in our country, these are whenever a natural gas field is discovered, what happens that a multinational company comes and takes the responsibility of extracting them, and they took almost all of the resources, and okay, and a very few amount is left for us, for the host country. Mhm. So that's another sad news, right? Then next is like taxes are often paid very minimal, or almost zero. Okay, because whenever multinationals comes to your country, they're in a bargaining position. They have a bargaining power that they do with the government. That they say that yeah, we are coming to your country, we are bringing FDI, we'll provide you employment, skill development, lots of other things. In return, we need some benefit in terms of tax for a particular period of time. They won't be paying any tax, and the government often agrees with this kind of agreement. Okay, then multinationals sometimes do not share profit with the host nation. There's something called repatriation. Okay, they are earning huge amount of profit from your country, but they will transfer almost all of them to the yeah, to their home country or their head office or other countries. They don't keep much with the host countries. Okay, next we have higher commodity price. Okay, so because of globalization, what's happening that sometimes price is even rising. Okay, because the multinationals are here to make profit. So sometimes maybe you used to get it with a lower price, but when they come up with a situation that you're forced to increase the price. Next, we have interdependence. Interdependence, like we the countries are depending on each other. Okay, this is another yeah, thing, and then they think that's causing problem. Uh, Say that because suppose this COVID-19 situation, we are suffering a lot, right? Why this is happening? Because of this COVID-19 situation. Maybe first of all, the China was affected. Then but China was one of the main supplier of the almost for the whole world. So what happened that because of interdependency, all countries suffered and it spread around the world. Next, there is development gap. So because of globalization, as you can see, the developed countries are getting the main benefit, and developing countries are getting benefit as well as receiving suffering. So this will cause a development gap. Developed countries will improve a lot, but developing countries won't improve that much. So that's the situation where there's development gap. Okay. Mm, okay, some Indians here said good morning. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Mm, okay. Okay, let me know if you're facing a problem. And I received assignments from many of you. Okay. So if there are anyone who have not submitted the assignments yet, submit it as soon as possible. Okay. I think the deadline is almost over, but submit it. Okay. Okay, next is international trade. So international trade is like trading between countries. Okay. So what are the benefits? Like you can obtain goods that are not produced domestically. So it's not produced in your country. So okay, so bring it from other countries. Okay, then you can buy goods in a very cheaper manner from other countries. And then you can improve customers' choice because of international trade, you can bring lots of goods and services from around the world. Okay. Next, we have selling of unwanted commodities. Selling that means it's like when you have abundance of goods of a particular item. So what you can do, you can sell them off to other countries. Then there's a term called free trade. Free trade means like trading without barrier. What you can do that way you can trade without any barrier between countries. For some countries, these kind of benefits are provided and received by other countries. Okay. It doesn't mean that you are trading without any money. It means trading without any barrier. So barrier like the methods of barrier are like that will be discussed in the next chapter. But I'm giving you some idea that some of the methods of barrier is like in the next chapter we'll discuss that protectionism, tariff. Okay. Okay, so let's discuss the methods first, and then you'll get an idea what is this. Providing this kind of method to protect the domestic industry is known as protectionism. Okay, so protectionism is important to protect the domestic industry, but this barrier is a burden to some country, mostly the importers and the country who wants to enter your country, right? So see what are the barriers? The barriers are like tariff. Tariff means tax on import. So whenever you are importing, government will charge you an extra amount of money. So this will make the imports more expensive. That's tariff. Okay, then we have quota. Quota is a physical limitation on the goods that you are importing. You can so because of quota, there is a limit, right? Suppose we want to bring 10,000 units of goods, okay, but the government can stop you and say that no, you are only allowed to bring 5,000 maybe. Okay. So what will happen that every time you can't ship more than 5,000, so this is creating a barrier, right? This barrier is known as quota, and it reduces the imports. Okay. Mm, then subsidies like helping the domestic producers. Okay, so if domestic producers gets help from the government, so they will be able to sell at a lower price because their cost is falling. Some of the cost is cleared by the government, right? So this becomes makes the local goods more competitive compared to the foreign goods, and foreign goods face difficulty because of the subsidies. Next is administrative barriers. Sometimes there are lots of paperwork and lots of guidelines, specifications, regulations, which makes import very difficult. So this kind this makes import very difficult. Okay. So these administrative barriers are important, important type of barrier. Okay. Then another way is like depreciating exchange rate. Okay. You can depreciate the exchange rate. That means that you can reduce the value of your exchange rate. This will lead to this will lead to reduced reduced value for your local currency, your home currency. So if your value of your home currency reduces, what will happen? That exports will become cheaper and imports will become dearer. Okay, so this will lead to um, a rise in export and a fall in import. Okay, this is another kind of barrier for the importers. Okay, so now let's get back to the last chapter to understand the benefit of free trade. That means trading without this kind of barrier is very beneficial for some countries because choice and competition increases because of this trading without barrier. What's happening that lots of options will come from different countries. So this is a very good thing for competition, and also the consumers will get access to different kind of products and services, right? And then we have growth and GDP that like previously maybe mm, uh, a country used to produce for their own country. Now because of this free trade opportunity, many countries will be taking the opportunity to produce for the whole world, right? And so this will increase their growth and GDP. But there are some negative things as well. Negative things includes like over specialization, like what's happening that like because of free trade, what will happen that some countries will decide to focus on a particular item, and others will try to focus on other items. So, suppose in our country we are focusing on garments, and we are focusing less on agriculture nowadays, right? So what's happening that so we will depend on other countries for agriculture, right? Suppose think about onion, okay, or sugar. Okay, even today after producing for so many years, we are still dependent on other countries for this onion or sugar or even rice. Rice is one of the main food for our country, but we also depend on import of rice. Okay, so that's a very sad situation, right? You are over specializing so much that you're depending on other countries, and other countries are taking the opportunity and increasing the prices and everything. Okay, so the over specialization is bad. You have to depend on others. Okay, then unemployment, like if the demand pattern of the country changes, then you'll be in trouble because you're producing goods and services for another country. So if their demand pattern changes, then you'll be in trouble. Like we see in the during COVID-19 situation, many exporters and importers suffered because demand pattern of other countries changing. So those producers were in trouble, and because of this, the unemployment also took place. And we have environmental damage is there also, like we discussed before, that as we are producing for the whole world, production is increasing a lot, and because of this, you are harming the we are harming the environment in terms of carbon emission. We are emitting harmful gases. Okay, so this is a problem, and it's causing global warming. Okay, so that's free trade. So this is an important question, advantage and disadvantage of free trade. So this can be this is an important question. So the exam, this, you may find this question. This is a very important question. Okay. Okay. So we won't be able to finish this chapter, protectionism, today. Okay. So we'll do it in the next class. Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. See you in the next class. Inshallah.